It's time now for some real education. Countee Cullen was born Countee Leroy Porter on May 30th, 1903. He was an American poet, novelist, children's writer, and playwright, and was particularly well known during the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was influenced by a movement called Negritude, which represents the discovery of black values and the Negro's awareness of his situation. Cullen saw the movement as an awakening of race consciousness and black modernism that flowed into Harlem. Cullen's short poem, called Incident, reflects the movement in a simple but powerful way.
Yeah, and I think when we are so censorious now, we looking back in history, and anything that offends us now that was really progressive in its day, we have to cancel. This little poem by Countee Cullen, a really wonderful African-American poet, it contains the N-word. And I'm not going to say it because you won't let me. And when I mean you, the cancel culture, right? This is a fantastic poem that highlights that word once in the poem, the N-word. And if you don't say it or don't read it, the power of the poem's gone. What you are doing by censoring this kind of stuff, you've got idiot high school teachers in California refusing to teach Huckleberry Finn because it has the N-word in it. And another great African-American writer, Ralph Ellison, actually pointed out in the 1950s that Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, he said, was the most moral book on race ever written. He used the N-word, Twain, not because he was a racist, but to show how that word demeaned Jim. And now we can't read it to our kids. This kind of erasure is not progress. This beautiful little poem from Countee Cullen, it's set in the mouth of a little boy. And I'm going to read you the poem. And when I get to the word, I'm just going to not say it. And tell me if the poem what is lost in this poem. Incident, 1925, Countee Cullen. Once riding in old Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean keep looking straight at me. Now I was 8 and very small, and he was no whit bigger. And so I smiled, but he poked out his tongue and called me. I saw the whole of Baltimore from May until December, of all the things that happened there. That's all that I remember. Devastating. And you take the word out and the poem means nothing. In fact, the entire premise of the poem is that word. Let me read it again. A young boy, never seen from the country, never seen a big city. He's just driving in a coach and just amazed by the buildings and the culture, and sees a little boy just like him. I mean, if there's anything more universal than little boys, right? Finding other little boys. But in this racially charged atmosphere, what happens? Once riding in old Baltimore, just the joy of all the experience, right? Once riding in old Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean keep looking straight at me. Now I was 8 and very small, and he was no whit bigger. And so I smiled, but he poked out his tongue and called me. What have you removed? You've removed a hateful word, but, not so hateful that you can't replace the ending R with an A and use it in your rap songs, right? Not so hateful that black people don't use it on each other frequently in slang. A word that's supposed to be so devastatingly unprintable, unspeakable, that we use it in our counterculture all the time. You've actually now got white Antifa members screaming it in the faces of black cops without any consequence. So forgive me if you can use that word so colloquially, but then take it out of a work of art where its entire premise is to shut down everything else. That little boy was full of life. He was full of curiosity. He was open and warm to everything. And that other little boy who called him that name stopped it all. And you want to erase that word from that poem, shame on you. I'm going to read it again, and I'm not going to read the word. And just mourn the gap. Mourn what outrage cancel culture has done, not just to our statues, not just to our books, but also to our art. A great poet silenced, a great African-American voice who spoke boldly before others did, silenced by your childishness. Once riding in old Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean keep looking straight at me. Now I was 8 and very small, and he was no whit bigger. And so I smiled, but he poked out his tongue and called me. I saw, notice how the sprightly gallop of the horse carriage of excitement, da 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 da, turns to a much more sad type of versification. I saw the whole of Baltimore from May until December. Of all the things that happened there, it's all that I remember. So think twice before you seek to erase everything. Because in erasing those things that you think are bad, you are erasing those people who overcome that badness. Now, when I was a professor, a young graduate student teaching at Purdue University, I'll never forget this. This is going to be a little longer ending segment, but I'll never forget it. I was asked by the department chair. We had a class offered on African American drama. There was supposed to be a course taught by the drama department on African American drama plays. And the woman, African American woman, who was supposed to teach the course, she got mad about something. And so a couple weeks before the class began, she literally quit and refused to teach the course. So now you have a course with 32 students in it, from all different intellectual disciplines across the campus who wanted to take this class. There was nobody else, apparently at the whole faculty level, who could teach it. So knowing my rather diverse reading background, the department chair, I'll never forget her name was Margaret Monroe, Scottish woman, about 4 foot tall, but with a mind much bigger. And she came to me and she said, Duke, there's no one else who can teach this class, but you can do it. I know you can do it, and a lot of the faculty know you have the ability to do it. Would you teach this class? Now, again, I'm a graduate student, teaching only composition courses, freshman writing. I was thrilled with the opportunity. I'd read most of those plays. I knew black drama. In fact, the title of the course was actually Black Drama at that time. And so I asked her, though, very specifically, I said, is this going to be this was 1995. I said specifically, is this going to be a problem, though? I mean, in today's world, this would be a problem. But I asked her if it was going to be a problem, and she said, not the way I know you're going to teach the class. And so I taught this class, and the class, there were 32 kids, 18 of them were African Americans. The only class I've ever taught that was a majority of black students. And I started the first day of class, and I said to him, look, my opening statement was, we had two options. We either cancel this class and no one gets to study these great books, or we go with this class and let somebody like me teach it. I said, in my mind, canceling the class because of my race would be a sin to those great writers. So I'm going to start the class by telling you, I'm white and proud. I'm proud to be white. Couldn't say that today. But I hope, I said, that you're proud of who you are, whatever you are. And if we understand that, we can move forward and look at these really wonderful books, these wonderful plays. I had the highest evaluations on that course almost that I've ever had. The kids loved it. So successful was it that over the next summer school, she asked me to teach it again because there was nobody else to do it. Those days, unfortunately, are long gone. Right now, if you're not a black professor of black literature, then you're a very angry liberal white woman. I've mentioned this before, right? At every university I've taught at, 7 of them, there just weren't enough African American professors who wanted to teach these books. So they're always being taught primarily by liberal white women. That's a shame. But they have every right to do it the way I had a right to do it. It's just a sad thing that in, 25 years, we've created a situation where these kind of things are even questioned. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But Countee Cullen, you deserve to read him for what he said. And if you take what Countee Cullen did all around that word, it only appears once, but that word utterly changes everything. It completely transforms a little boy on a Baltimore route to something really, really depressing. And if you take it out, you're gutting everything that made people, African American people, what they were and how they struggled and overcame. It's a sad, sad thing.